everyone. Welcome to the Cardamom Chai Podcast, first ever episode. My name is Jasnoor.
And I'm Roma.
Welcome everyone to our first ever episode. We're finally very, very excited to have you here listening to us. We kind of wanted to do a little bit of an intro episode just to introduce ourselves, introduce the podcast, and go over a little bit of the details.
We're trying to cover topics, different topics, including, family and relationships and friendships, or life in general. Yeah, so these are the broad topics that we are referring to, but we will obviously go deep dive into these topics and talk about specific ideas about the topics as well.
Yeah, and then we'll release an episode every single Thursday, so you can look out for that in your feed. Yeah, and we're just excited for two friends to be talking about our life, and it's just a fun thing that we do on a weekly basis.
Yeah, with our cardamom chais with us.
Yes, we cannot forget the chai. So we're just going to be covering quick questions about why we started the podcast, a little bit of a background on us, and just some quick fire questions at the end.
Yep.
So just to, you guys get to know us a little bit more and get excited for what's to come.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Let's get into it.
So the first question we're gonna go over is, how did we meet and how long have we known each other?
Yeah, we met back in university, back in specifically I'd say like 2012-13. So it's been around 10 years or so that I and Jasnoor know each other. It was like second year of university or something at that time, second or third year of university.
Was it second? I thought it might have been first, but I could definitely, no, it was second. You're right.
Yeah, I think it was second or third because I remember hanging out a lot in the professional faculties, the Tim's there, after our accounting courses, and also I think it was like second or third year.
Yeah, and a mutual friend of ours introduced each other, and ever since then we've been friends. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
We've continued our friendship from university up until now. We had a couple years where we kind of lost touch just because life gets to be a little bit, different when you graduate and, you get married and you get, a professional job. Things get hectic and you find new friends. So we lost touch for a little bit, but I remember the day that I ran into you at my workplace. Well, I ran into you on the second floor of our building.
Yeah.
It was during a fire drill, right?
Yeah, it was. It was such a coincidence.
It was such a coincidence. And we talked for half an hour during this fire drill. And we're like, oh, let's, meet up. And, I was so happy to run into you that day.
Yeah. It was as a result of the friendships that go on in your adult life and everything. But ever since then, we just picked up and it was as if we never really left the friendship. So yeah, it's been a while since I've known Jasnoor. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while, and this is I would say this is a very true friendship for me. It's lasting the test of time. Even though we've grown so much, we've grown in similar ways that we can come back together with no sort of hesitation whatsoever.
Yes, exactly.
So what inspired you to start this podcast with me?
Whenever we have met to catch up on life and on everything, we usually sit down for easily 2-3 hours and we talk, and we have talked about this before, how we both like to have very genuine, true, deep conversations all the time. So every time we meet, it's almost like we're just picking up again from where we left off last time. So the idea of starting a podcast with you it was just easy when you brought that up to me. I was just like, yeah, sure. There's no second thing. You don't have to think twice. I didn't have to think twice in order to say yes to that. I know you had been wanting to start a podcast for a while. I just thought that, yeah, why not? Like, I feel like we talk nice stuff. So if we maybe start recording it, and if it would be a good conversation for others to listen to, then for sure that way we also get to keep in check with what we are believing in life, and what topics are out there that we want to talk about and everything. So these were some of my reasons behind why I did not hesitate once before saying yes to starting a podcast with you. So, but I want to know from you, because I know it was like originally your idea that you really wanted to start a podcast, and I want to know what got that. Like, how did you come up with that?
Well, I'm so glad to hear you say that it was like no hesitations and you're like ready to say yes. But a podcast, just because I listen to a lot of podcasts and
makes sense,
they resonate with me. And if I'm doing the dishes, if I'm driving, if I'm doing a monotonous task, like I listen to a podcast, and I feel like a podcast that we're attempting to create here doesn't really exist from what I've seen of two friends just talking to each other from our backgrounds. I've seen a lot of friends talking to each other about several topics, but not from specifically our backgrounds, which is a little bit nuanced. So I want to see that a little bit more, and why not us?
Yeah.
To try to do that.
Makes sense. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
and I'm glad we're doing this now. So yeah, so as I guess our main like goals and objectives for this podcast really is to talk about our personal experiences on some of the topics that we think are important, or even in future, whatever topics come up that are relatable, and basically just share our experiences with everyone, with the listeners. There isn't really any other specific goals or objectives that are with this podcast that are very calculated or anything like that. It's more just for the purpose of recording our conversations and then sharing it out with others, with the hopes that if it helps anyone, because we are planning on gathering questions or anyone else who would need advices, and they would share their situation with us, and so just trying to give advices, or if someone would want to learn from our experiences. That's basically what our main goals and objectives are for this podcast. Jasnoor?
Yeah, and a personal goal of mine is that I get to talk to you every week. I think that's just an added bonus.
I agree.
Yeah. So how did we come up with the idea for Cardamom Chai?
You mean the title itself?
Yeah, the title itself. Yeah.
So once we decided that, okay, we're doing this, and that was, by the way, with like a whole like excitement of like, yes, let's do this. Right after the next weekend, we met up again. And obviously one of our first tasks was to decide the title. And so we were like coming up with like names and throwing, bouncing ideas with each other to see what's sticking, what feels right, and things like that. And I think Jasnoor said chai.
Yeah.
And then I was just throwing ideas on like, okay, what goes with chai? There's like chai pe charcha is the Hindi version of it, which is like talking over coffee or talking over cha or, tea. And then I was thinking of all these spices that go in the tea and everything, and including cinnamon and cloves and all these spices that go in it. And I suddenly thought of cardamom, because I love cardamom. I literally see cardamom as heart or as love for some reason in my head. If I had never seen cardamom, but I had just tasted it, the word cardamom would draw a picture of a heart in my mind. That's how much I can resonate cardamom and love together. So I'm like, how about Cardamom Chai? And that just stuck with us. We both loved it. Then came the whole imagination of the cover art and everything just fell into place, and it made sense to have this title.
Yeah, and like chai specifically, I never have chai without cardamom in it, because then that just does not taste the same to me. But like chai itself just reminds me of a warm hug, and you just getting cozy in your blanket, drinking a nice cup of cardamom chai, just invokes very warm feelings inside of me.
Yeah, makes sense, especially when we are talking with friends and your bestie, and spending that afternoon with that person and having that cup with you. I get that.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess as the next question, was there a moment when we decided to finally start this podcast? I think we covered that a little bit.
Yeah, we covered that. Well, it was in the moment when we were talking about, just like, things that we're doing outside of our work for fun and for, just, like side interests. And you brought up the fact that you've been trying to do a couple of different things. And I was like, I've been trying to do a podcast. Could a podcast be one of your things that you try to do outside of work? And like immediately, yes.
Yeah, it just made sense.
Yeah. Okay, so let's kind of get into some personal questions and a little bit of about us outside of the podcast, I guess. So what is your relationship status?
I have been married for about 4.5 to 5 years to a handsome man. Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Just
Nice. I've been married to, I say, very handsome man as well. And we've been married for about almost 6 years. I'll be 6 years in January. And he's the complete opposite of me, and it works great.
Perfect, yeah. What is your favorite TV show or a movie? And what's your favorite book?
So my favorite movie, I have a lot of TV shows that I watch and I love, but I think the one thing that I would watch over and over and over again is the Harry Potter series. It got me through a lot of transitional times in my life, and it just never fails to be something that's just a happy place. So I would say that would be my favorite book as well, actually. The Harry Potter series all the way. But more recently, like I've gotten into a little bit of a science fiction kick. So I like the Project Hail Mary. And I'm currently reading The Will of the Many. It's really interesting. Yeah. How about yourself?
Okay. My favorite TV show, I'd say, is Virgin River. It's on Netflix, and I love that show. I think there's like 5 some seasons, and then the next one is coming up. I think this week they're releasing on Netflix. But anyway, I just love that show so much. Just because it promotes the idea of community and slow living, and you're living in this small town, and everyone's like so there for each other, and the way they shoot the show is so beautiful, because I think part of the show is shot in BC as well. Yeah. So I love that show. I think I can watch that show over and over again, and there's so much to learn from it too. Yeah. So I find that show very calming to watch.
Nice. I'm surprised to say that it's not Gilmore Girls, because I thought that would have been your answer.
It would have been, but Gilmore Girls is more of just like, if I need to just pass some time, or if I need something playing in the background, I would have Gilmore Girls playing. I've watched that show probably like 500 sometimes by now, but it's more of a feel good type of show that I would just play in the background, and I just remember all the dialogues and all the scenes so nicely now that I don't even have to watch it. I just have the scenes playing in my head when the dialogues are playing.
Wow.
But Virgin River is more of like a show that you can learn something from as well. It's more modern and more realistic, more relatable for current life,
Okay.
as opposed to Gilmore Girls was more of taken place obviously back in the day as well. So, but yeah, it's Virgin River for me. And then book-wise, I guess sort of a similar idea, but not so much, is this book called Educated by Tara Westover.
Okay.
I read it a while ago. I heard actually some of it on Audible, and then I ended up buying the book and actually sit down and read it because that's how interesting I found it, and I wanted to actually spend time, sit down and read it. So, very knowledgeable, because I think it's a real story and everything. So good stuff. I really like that book.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. I like how you're more
Yeah.
like nonfiction, and I'm more like fiction all the way. Okay, moving on. Where would you want to vacation?
Well, there are so many places. But I guess Amsterdam is one place that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. Yeah, like somewhere in Europe where I can include Amsterdam somehow in my trip. But there's so many other places to see in Europe. Everywhere. Yeah, like there's just so many, like, from Greece to Italy to Paris. And I haven't been to any of these places. But yeah, these would be some of the things as a nice vacation for me.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a very nice time.
Yeah, how about you?
I would say Europe as well. I haven't been there either, honestly. But it just seems like but I wouldn't want to go to like one of those like really touristy places. I'd want to go to like a very small town. Yeah, quiet, maybe by the water, which would be hard to find a quiet place by the water, but that's kind of what I like is a slowed down life by the water.
That, in my opinion, that would be Greece, based on what I've heard, is that it's a lot of water and you can just sit by it and everything. But one thing I love that blows my mind about Europe is that the countries there is that the produce, it's fresh produce. You get that, like it's almost like you go out for shopping for produce pretty much every day. It blows my mind. Like I love that about Europe. I think that's like the main motivator for me to like go there and try their like fruit and vegetables.
yeah, and it seems so nice to like buy fresh produce every day, so that you're consuming fresh items, which is hard in America, North America specifically.
Yeah. But
what is your favorite memory of each other?
I've gotten a lot of advices from you, like that one part I remember, but I think I'll bring up one, and because I learned so much from that and I apply it still, is journaling. Or keeping a diary, right? Like an agenda. That concept, to me, it came from you back in university. I had no concept of that before.
Yeah.
So I think that would be one thing I can think of. But memory-wise, I'd have to... Oh, yeah, I have a memory. Yes. It would be, I think, second or third or maybe fourth year, I think, the BSD day.
Yeah.
For us. I wish I can find pictures from back then. Obviously, we had phones at that time, and I did take pictures in the phone, but I don't think where I can find those. But I still cherish that day. I still think about that day, and it still puts a smile on my face.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so BSD I don't know what happens nowadays, but back then it used to be a day at the end of the year, every school year or every university year in April, and it was just basically a celebration day where people, there would be concerts, I think, on campus, and alcohol and, things like that, and they would emphasize the idea of wearing shorts, and because it's Bermuda Shorts Day and all of that. So that was the best memory I have, because I still think about that and puts a smile on my face.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember drinking a Red Bull, or I think another one of those
An energy drink.
energy drink that day, and we got so hyper.
That got us high.
Yeah. Oh man, that was definitely a fun day. I have a lot of really great memories with you. I think graduation day, that was a great day that we could celebrate together our achievements. That was just a wonderful day together. The trip that we took to Kelowna,
Yeah.
the time, like you said, yes to ziplining, I was just awed. I was like, here's Roma, who's like a very shy, meek person, and I would have never expected you to say yes to ziplining, but you said yes. And the funniest thing is, we asked you to book the tickets for the ziplining, and you're like, I booked it, great. We show up there, they're like, we have no booking, and we're like, Roma, like, let's check your email to see if you have a confirmation and everything. And then we couldn't find a confirmation. I was like, Roma, you gotta call your bank, I gotta call them and then cancel the transactions. And then you're like, I don't think I entered my banking info. And I was like, what? What? You didn't enter your banking info? How did you pay for the tickets? And then we realized that you did not book the tickets at all.
I probably didn't scroll down all the way or something. I just went like, okay, I picked the dates.
Yeah,
it must have done it now.
And we're so confidently telling these people, you gotta have us because we booked the time, right? And they're like, no, we can't find it. Let's check other locations. No, you can't find it at all. It's because Roma didn't book it. It's hilarious.
I honestly don't have the memory of this at all. All I remember from Kelowna trip is how shit scared I was of all the activities that we did there.
Oh my god, the activity.
Biggest regret. I'm like, why did I say yes to ziplining, parasailing we did, and then I think last day or the second last day we were in the water and we were stuck there.
That was the scariest thing.
Oh. Man, I really thought that was my last day on this planet. I really thought that. The way we were stuck in the middle of the lake with the rain pouring down and wind, I'm like, we're not getting out of here.
Yeah, so what happened was that we rented these really giant bikes that you can pedal in the water. And you could just pedal around, and it was a really nice sunny day, and all of a sudden a storm comes in and we're trying to pedal to the shore to get back. And we're not making any progress. And then Roma's freaking out. And you were sitting next to someone else and they were just laughing at you. And then you were freaking out more and more. And me and the friend that I had next to me, she's like, she just thought the entire thing was funny how one person's laughing, one person's freaking out. But yeah, that was scary. When we made no progress toward the shore, we were just getting swept away.
Pushed more and more into it.
Yeah, exactly. And luckily we survived. The storm passed. We made it to the shore. Somebody pulled us in. And but parasailing wasn't bad. That was relaxing, I think.
It was high just now, okay? It was high up there on water. Yeah. Both of which are my thing. I'm scared of both of them.
Yeah. But I think if we did the zip lining after the little bike thing, I think you would have said no. Because you were so...
I would have probably bailed out. I would have been like, okay, I'm okay losing the money. I'm not trying to lose my life again.
But you didn't even pay for it, Roma. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's my favorite memory.
Oh, this was good. Good stuff.
Okay, moving on. Can you share a memorable experience from your childhood?
I think one thing I can think about is we used to play in our neighborhood a lot with the neighborhood kids. That's like one thing that comes to my mind about a memorable experience. We used to also go, like me and my brother, we would go. This is a good question. I should have thought about an answer for this beforehand. Me and my brother, we used to also go to my grandparents' house, my mom's side of parents, and we would play there with our cousins, my uncle's kids, and that was like good stuff. There used to be cartoon shows back in those days on TV, like those Cartoon Network and everything on TV, and all these like shows that we used to watch at that time. Good memories. Those were some of the good memories. I'm sure there is a lot more other ones that I'm forgetting right now, but otherwise, yeah. How about you?
Okay, so I'm gonna share a memory that's not like a happy memory, but I can remember this so clearly. I think I was in the 3rd grade, and I used to sit next to like my best friend at the time, and you know, like everyone knew that we were best friends, and you know, like how like there's like, you know, groups in school and everything, so everyone knew that we were best friends. And like one day I came late to school, something happened, I was just late to school, and someone else is sitting next to my best friend, and I think I just lost my shit. I started pulling her hair, scratching her.
Oh my God.
I know, I was like a feral child. And I was like, how dare you sit next to my best friend? Like, how dare you do that? I think the teacher got involved, had to pull me off of her. She is also fighting back. She wasn't like, you know, someone who was just getting attacked. She was also pulling my hair and, you know, fighting back. And she was one of those like mean kids, so I didn't feel too bad about
it. Was worth it?
It was worth it. I think, I don't remember how it ended, but I think I did sit next to my best friend after that. I got my way, but I think I just lost my shit one day at school.
Were you an angry kid? Like, no. As a kid, did you have anger?
No, I had no anger issues. I was okay, so this is going to be hard to believe, but I was a very outgoing kid. Like, the teachers, the one complaint that they had to my parents was that I was always talking in class. They're like, she doesn't...
You were the talkative
Yeah,
kid.
they're like, she doesn't shut up. So that was like one complaint that always happened, which doesn't really align with my personality now. I'm someone who doesn't talk as much. A lot of things happened to get to where we are today, but that was just a funny experience that stuck out to me.
I love it.
All right. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. What is a significant life lesson you've learned recently?
You go first.
Okay. I feel like I ask these questions and then I have time to think about a response, and and I put you on the spot. Okay, so a life lesson I've learned recently is to let go of the small things. So recently there's just a lot going on in life, because especially since like I have a 1-year-old, you know, and there's family in the house. So I used to get really, really bogged down with like the small things not going my way. And I realized what happens if I just let go of the small things and just pay attention to the big things that bother me, and just kind of let go of the small things because they don't matter. And you know, by doing that, it has brought me some peace in my life. So if things aren't a certain way in my house, if things aren't necessarily like neat and tidy, I don't let it bother me anymore. I don't freak out over it. I'm just like, it is what it is. This is life right now. Once, you know, my son has grown up and, you know, I have a little bit more time, maybe we can go back to the way I like things, the small things, but for now, I'll just let it go. And it's, you know, it's been nice. It's been relaxing to not care about the little things anymore.
No, that's a great lesson. Honestly, it's important, right? Like, how many things would you be stressed about, right? Like, adulting itself is difficult, right? Just taking care of yourself. But on top of that, if you obviously have a child and a family and, everything, it must get difficult to calm down about things. But that's a great lesson to apply, I guess, for anyone in general, is learn to let go, especially those who overthink a lot.
Yeah, exactly. What about you?
For me, I have been told by multiple people now is that I react a lot.
Okay.
And I'm not usually a reaction type of a person. I'm more of a responding type of a person. But I always just knew how to respond. Like, I never really thought about the fact that I was reacting a lot and everything. And there's a clear difference, by the way, between reacting and responding. And so not reacting to things would be like the one thing that I don't think I've really learned it yet. I'm working on learning it. But that's like the latest, like the biggest thing that has come up in my life is that I need to learn how to react less to things and respond to them more. Responding basically is not impulsive. Responding is more of like taking your time to breathe, think, listen to what was said to you, and then respond in words accordingly. Reacting in on the other side is more of like an instant something. You either snap at them or you say something back right away without thinking, or you get angry on your own, or something like that. It's more of a reaction rather than responding. So yeah, like that's one thing that I'd say would be something that I need to still apply, but working on it.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear you say that, because I feel like I haven't seen you be reactive with me, but maybe we haven't been put in those situations where a reaction is warranted.
Honestly speaking, I'm actually not reactive outside of house. I think I'm more like reactive in the house. Like,
fair enough.
Maybe like in front of family or my parents or something like that. I think maybe that's where it comes from. As opposed to when I'm outside, I think I'm just naturally conscious of my surrounding when I'm outside. So it's not even possible for me to just react like that.
That's a good that
Yeah, but you're right. I usually wouldn't have reacted outside.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I know with like my own parents and my husband and everything, I am quick to be like blah 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 blah. and sometimes that can lead us into tricky waters.
Yes. I'll ask the next one. What's your favorite way to relax and unwind?
Currently, I don't get a lot of time to relax and unwind these days, but it is usually either I am reading, like I love reading. I think I read like 35 books this year.
Whoa.
And that's
Yeah, I love that.
That's a low for me. Yeah, that's a low number for me because I don't have time these days. But something else that I love to do is actually curl up on the sofa and watch a movie with my husband and make some popcorn, and like it's just my favorite way to relax and unwind.
Yeah, like similar things for me. My favorite way, honestly, I enjoy baking sometimes. Actually, I want to take it back because I don't really bake as much. I like the idea of baking, but I don't bake as much. Can I say sleep? Sleep.
Yeah, I love sleeping. Yeah.
Sleep is like one natural way for me to relax and unwind. But other than that, I know if I would just be given some space in my house and some time and my house by myself, I love to just go around, try to either organize or decorate whatever corners of the house and things like that. These are like two good ways I can relax and unwind. I would have some music playing, the songs that I like. playing in the background, or I'd have Gilmore Girls playing in the background while I do these things. But yeah, other than that, same as you, just, specifically on a Saturday afternoon, getting on the sofa and just like watching these days Christmas movie actually. With my husband. So
Oh, nice.
these are some of the ways I can actually relax and unwind that I enjoy.
Oh, that sounds so nice and cozy. So if you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
Yeah, superpower wise, the things I'm really wishing for is not really superpower. Like being able to be an extrovert, like talk for hours and not get tired. That's not really a superpower. It's just a personality trait. I feel like I can see through people, so it's not like I want to hear everyone's conversations either. I can see through their bullshit. So superpower type, I don't want to fly either because I'm scared of height.
Yeah.
I don't really have an answer for this. Hold on. What could be a superpower?
Okay, I have one. And mine is teleportation. So to be able to
Oh, that's cool.
to go from one place to another in like a blink of an eye. Because I hate traveling. Honestly, like these long flights are just not for me. Not designed for it.
Yeah.
Even like commute to work, going anywhere. I hate driving in the snow. So like teleportation would be great. Save me a lot of time and money, honestly. I could be in India right now if I snap my fingers.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah. Or Europe.
The
place that you were saying.
Exactly. But then I'd have to make sure like I could take people with me. Because I don't want to go alone.
That's also true. So then you need like a...
Yeah, I grab someone's hand, then they come with me.
Okay, makes sense. If I would have to pick one, I think maybe telepathy.
Yeah, moving objects with your mind. Or that's telekinesis.
I didn't even think that. No, telepathy is more communication through mind with someone else, like a person.
Oh, right.
Like they know what you're thinking, sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I totally think of telekinesis for some reason.
Yeah, I think the idea of telepathy is very, it's like a blessing, and I know some people actually have it. I know twins would have it. I'm guessing twins would have it. But to be able to have that with someone that you have a difficult time communicating.
Would you want that to be able to like you have telepathic conversations with anyone or just one person?
Oh no, just anyone. Anyone that I would have a hard time communicating with otherwise. Whether I'm not able to express myself properly or whether they are not able to explain what they want. Or if we both are like stuck somewhere and we want to just, talk through our minds and just like try to be on the same page without having to talk and everything. That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Okay, so Roma, should we move into some quick fire questions?
Yes, let's do.
So I will say the question and then you just respond right away and then we'll go back to me afterwards.
Okay.
Okay, so are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning person.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Beach vacation or mountain retreat?
I honestly like mountains better than beach.
Oh, nice.
Very windy on beach for me.
Fair enough. Pizza or burger?
Pizza.
Hot or cold?
Hot. But okay, no. Okay. There's so much to it.
Okay.
Because cold, I like weather cold, but I like hot tea. So there's different aspects of it. In some areas hot, some areas cold.
Okay, fair enough. Activity date or romantic dinner?
I'd go with romantic dinner.
Books or movies?
Movies.
Sweet or savory?
Savory, not a sweet eating type of person, no.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Introvert or extrovert?
Introvert all the way. We should ask our audience if they can judge that from us, from our conversation, whether we are introverts or extroverts.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you think we're introverted or extroverted. I think that's all the quick fire questions I have.
Okay, I'll ask them back to you then.
Okay.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning person.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Beach vacation or mountain retreat?
Beach vacation all the way. We live in the mountains. We live so close to the mountains.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the mountains.
I get that. I think that's the reason why I love mountains, because we're living so close to them. Pizzas or burgers?
It used to be pizza, but I've switched to burgers.
Really?
Just happened like a year ago, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Hot or cold?
Hot weather, cold drinks. Completely opposite of you.
Complete opposite. I get that. Okay. Activity date or romantic dinner?
I would say activity date.
What kinds of activity?
Just anything. Like, it could be like rock climbing, hiking.
Also like adventurous things
arcade.
too?
Yeah, arcade.
Cool.
Yeah, skating, bowling. Yeah, so any type of activity. I think I just run out of things to talk about. So I'd rather do an activity instead.
For me, food is a thing, right? So then I would like dunk myself into food.
Yeah, well, after an activity, you can eat a lot.
Makes sense. Okay, books or movies?
Books all the way. Come on, you know how much I read.
Yes, I know that, yes. Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Savory. Apple or Android?
I would say Apple, because I have so many Apple products, but I do have an Android phone, so controversial.
And lastly, introvert or extrovert?
Introvert, but I like extroverts as well.
Like you can be one if, or you like that in other people.
Yeah, I like that in other people. I like that quality in other people, just because, well, spoiler alert, to anyone who was guessing, I am an introvert. But my husband is an extrovert, and it works great for us, because in situations where I'm afraid to be an extrovert or I don't want to be, he's more than willing to step up to the plate.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense.
All right, I think that's all the quick fire questions.
And so, yeah, I think that's it for us, from us, for our first episode, which is our introduction episode. We hope you guys enjoyed listening to it as much as we love talking about it and talking about ourselves. As Justin mentioned at the very beginning, we will be posting one episode every Thursday, a new episode every Thursday on various topics. We have a list of topics, but there's a possibility we may run out. So feel free to suggest, what things you would want to listen about, or what things you would want us to discuss about, or if you have any questions, or if you have comments or suggestions, anything like that, any situations that you would want to share with us to get our advice, things like that, feel free to send those to us. Our email address is cardamomchaipodcast@gmail.com. We also have an Instagram account, also called Cardamom Chai Podcast. So feel free to reach out to us on both of these platforms. We will be posting our podcast. We will be publishing our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. So please watch out for those.
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in to our first ever episode of the Cardamom Chai Podcast. Make sure you're subscribed and following us on Instagram for any updates, and make sure to send us your questions so we can answer them on a podcast episode and give you any advice if you are looking for it. If you're not looking for it, that's all right too.
Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye.
Okay.